What do you think about roundabouts?
I think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Honestly, I don't like it.
I love roundabouts.
Oh, yeah. I think roundabouts are great.
Yeah.
I don't see the need for them. Yeah, I think it's best to just keep it as it is.
They're just a really efficient way of keeping traffic moving.
They always seemed to slow traffic down.
Just look at Europe. They've been doing it for decades, centuries even. You should take example from them. That's it.
Halifax has had a bit of a love but a bit more hate relationship with roundabouts in the past. We have the Armadale Rotary that we continue to use today, and we used to have one in the middle of a lake. The Mic Mac Rotary, which was such a colossal failure that it was shut down in 1990 after being the cause of much road rage. It was so bad that someone even wrote a song about it called the Mic Mac Rotary Blues.
Working in Halifax, Mic Mac Rotary Blues.
The roundabouts that have been introduced today are modern roundabouts, which are a bit different than what we've had in the past. The main difference is that drivers entering the roundabout now have to yield to traffic already in the circle. They're also smaller and meant to be slower. The recent introduction to the city seems to have created some debate on their effectiveness. So we'd like to take a look at some of the pros and cons of roundabouts.
Now, we've been thinking about doing this video on roundabouts for quite some time, but we found that our conversations on the topic was just going in circles. That's our roundabout way of saying that this topic is pretty controversial and there's a lot to say about it. And I'm happy to say that we've finally come full circle to sharing our spin on this topic. Stop!
They're a great idea if you know how to use them. They're just so annoying when people are not getting it. So make sure you get it before you get on a roundabout.
If they don't know how the system works, they would freak out in the center, slow everybody down.
I think some people think it's like you wait and then merge, but I think some people think it's still 1-1.
Well, no,
the rotary.
You're asking somebody who doesn't drive.
If they're good drivers, I'm supportive of the roundabout. But if they're a bad driver, get out of my roundabout.
There seems to be a lot of support from the city to build roundabouts right now. In 2010, a report was given to the Halifax City Council supporting the implementation of roundabouts referencing traffic, cost, safety, and other benefits. And many other studies also support the use of roundabouts.
In a practical sense, roundabouts are meant to keep people moving through an intersection quickly and smoothly. Studies find that the amount of time spent by cars sitting idle at an intersection decreased by 50% after roundabouts were introduced. Basically, no more wasting gas at a red light. Oh, and no more people speeding through yellow lights as well.
Another benefit that comes up in the case of roundabouts is that they're theoretically less expensive to build and maintain because they don't need traffic lights, which apparently costs a lot of money, up to $150,000 an intersection. Now, the roundabouts around the Commons are going to cost the city about $12.9 million, but that's because they're also making this a bit of an urban design project with trees, sidewalks, lighting, trails, and upgrading all the underground infrastructure in addition to the construction of the roundabouts themselves.
Roundabouts also have a pretty proven safety track record as well. People are generally more alert when using them, and their structure significantly reduces the chances of more serious accidents such as T-bone collisions.
Now, roundabouts look great on paper, and for the rational thinker, they're a really great solution to many of our present issues at traffic intersections. But hear me out on this one. That style of thinking hasn't always resulted in a good city. Take the Cogswell interchange, for example. There are just some things that can't really be measured with numbers, and I think roundabouts are no exception to this.
Many say that a traditional intersection is great for our perception of safety. Having a traffic light or a crossing signal telling you when to stop or go may not actually be safer for you, but it certainly feels that way. You feel like you're absolved of all responsibility and you can cross the street without a worry, and that's pretty comforting.
The roundabout isn't really concerned about the aesthetics or the feel of the neighborhood as it is about the traffic flow. And many say that roundabouts come at the compromise of the pedestrian experience. They can feel a bit car-dominated, and cars have trouble stopping for pedestrians, especially as they're leaving the roundabout.
There's some more practical constraints to roundabouts as well. For example, as we develop our transit system, adding transit priority measures to intersections like advanced green lights for buses makes sense, and the recently released Halifax Transit Plan calls for this. However, replacing intersections with roundabouts can remove the possibility of ever adding these measures.
Additionally, roundabouts are risky and hard to navigate for people who are visually impaired as they lack pedestrian signals and cues.
It's true that roundabouts are a bit of a disputed topic in Halifax. We have a bit of a tricky history with them, and they're kind of a new thing in an urban setting. But I think the real question is whether there's something that we should be critical of or something that we should just get used to. Now, the report to council does state that while many neighborhoods do oppose roundabouts initially, they tend to see them favorably about 12 months after their construction.
In our opinion, we believe that a case-by-case approach is necessary. In the case of the new roundabouts near the Commons, the intersections that we're replacing are pretty terrible. The ones under construction right now in particular is a six-way headache for pedestrian, motorists, and cyclists.
However, the report to council does seem to emphasize that this is a bit of a popular trend in Canada and the US. Well, hold up. We think, no, let's not do it because it's a trend. Let's do it because it's the right thing to do. We're PLANifax, and we hope we've presented to you a well-rounded discussion on
Stop! No more!
Sure.
Yes.